and he had him preach at this black church in order to give him some street cred as well. And this kind of stuff went on over and over. But also, did you know that when Coretta Scott King, Martin Luther King's widow, when she showed up at the 1988 Republican National Convention in New Orleans, that was arranged by Al Sharpton. Okay, and when she went and she showed up down there, she sat in George Bush's box. Okay, and she was greeted and kissed by Barbara Bush. Okay, so all of this stuff, people have no idea, and it's such a knee-jerk reaction to look at the surface of Al Sharpton and say he's some kind of radical, black, leftist, street agitator, when in reality, the guy works for the GOP. He's a GOP stooge, bought and paid for by the Republican Party of the United States, goes out there over and over to split the Democratic vote. While at the same time, his girlfriend is running to become chair of the vice chair of the DNC. Just a fascinating, what do you call it, mixture here going on. Just incredible. Also, too, you might want to look into the Village Voice, a series of articles as well about how Al Sharpton sold out Jesse Jackson. Okay, and what all of that goes into is that when all the rumors started floating around about Jesse Jackson having a love child, Al Sharpton started a whisper campaign to get all that information out there and to kind of make it acceptable for that kind of stuff to be talked about. And he even did some stuff to rub it in Jesse's face. When they both attended an event together, he invited the person who was basically breaking the story to the event, and he sat him next to his own daughters and his own wife and stuff. Just all kinds of incredible stuff that Al Sharpton's done. Now, okay, right, you know what? I wanted to get into this whole thing, too, about the taxes, because people talk about how, and look at this guy. He doesn't even pay his taxes. And some weird thing about how he's involved in this Walmart thing with Jade Helm, all craziness. And now he's calling for all police departments to be taken over by the federal government. So people's theory is that, well, he doesn't have to pay his taxes, so he's doing this for Obama. Well, obviously, he has no allegiance to Obama, other than, Obama's CIA, because Sharpton is FBI. There's no doubt about that. You got to go back and look at all these cases he did for the FBI. But now people talk about, well, he doesn't pay his taxes, and the guy doesn't pay his taxes, and he never did. The guy never paid his taxes way back when we were all activists together. And back in those days when he had his the youth network was run out of Brooklyn, that was a pretty disturbing thing, too, that was going on back in those days, because he didn't pay his rent to his landlord either. And his landlord at the time was not some big, rich guy. This was a small office in a small building. And Jack Sharpton and his thugs intimidated this guy, and they went months and months. I don't think they ever paid rent there even once, to tell you the truth. And that was something that people talked about, that it was dirty dealings. But now the man owes over $1 million in taxes. Okay, but beyond that, all the campaign irregularities in his campaign fundraising, which it was galore. There was one incident where he submitted a bill to the campaign that he had spent $150,000 at Kinko's to print up letters. Just crazy stuff, man. Like Al Sharpton never had $150,000 in his pocket to go walk into Kinko's, and then later on he wants to charge his campaign for it. So so it goes so far beyond the fact that he doesn't pay his taxes, because he hasn't paid any of his campaign fines and irregularities that have gone on with all his campaign fundraising. When he was just galore over there, living in these $4,000 a night hotel rooms and hotel suites, and all the shenanigans. And by the way, too, the National Action Network right now does nothing for anyone. They don't have a food program. They don't have an education program. They don't have a health program. They don't have one program to help people that are in trouble, inner city or outer city or any kind of person. Okay, the one thing that they claim that they run is a voter registration hotline, which used to ring at the apartment in Trump Plaza, where Al Sharpton's girlfriend lived, who was the executive director for his organization there. So it really does nothing. And how this guy gets away with this, and the people, how he gets involved with the families of these victims, and they bring them in, because it doesn't seem to help when the federal government comes in, as we saw in Ferguson, because they just came in and they said, well, we can't prosecute anyway, and they get away with it. So there's all of that. Also, too, it was kind of interesting too that down in Ferguson, the head of the new Black Panther Party, at the same time was down there stirring up trouble, was also an FBI informant and has a background in history with his being an FBI informant. So when you look at this, you have these events where unarmed people are being killed by local cops, and then who comes in to run the opposition is the FBI, you know? Whether it's New Black Panther Party or Al Sharpton coming in with his team to run all this. Because if you look up the smokinggun.com and you look at the number of cases that he set up, not little cases, we were just informing on people where he was prepped. I guess first he had a pitch who he knew that he was going to go out and target. He had to pitch it to the cops, to the FBI first. Then they prepped him on it before he went there, telling him what they wanted him to say. And then when he went there, he recorded the whole thing and then brought it back and then arranged second meetings to go back with these people again. And once the FBI had this stuff, these tapes and these transcripts, they were able to get huge wiretaps and wiretap off. Vincent the Chin Gigante, they wiretapped his girlfriend's apartment. They wiretapped his social club. They were able to take one of these mafia guys and take his car and put a wiretap in a car and bring the car back. Big stuff, all based on Al Sharpton, because he was a credible witness. He was a credible informant and a credible witness and a credible asset for the FBI. And this was going on while Tawana Brawley was going on. This was going on. Now just think, if the information that came to me is true about how he covered up the thing with the child molestation with Michael Jackson, that went on while he was practically a full-time undercover FBI asset. Now, it would seem to me, knowing this, it's the information's out there. This isn't very little of this comes from me exclusively. Very little. Most of this is coming from the smokinggun.com, and most of this is coming from the Village Voice. And the Tawana Brawley stuff, that's kind of out there. People know that. But you would think now, knowing this, that how can they get away with telling us, well, he's this racist rabble-rouser and he's trying to stir up trouble down in Ferguson? There's no doubt the guy's working for the government. There can be no doubt at this point, even slightly. And it's no doubt that he's working more for the right-wing Republicans than he is for the Democrats. But he's on MSNBC, right? So he must be a liberal. He must be some kind of Democrat, right? Because he's on MSNBC saying all the right stuff, right? But he's not. You don't think that Rachel Maddow and these people on MSNBC know these stories I'm telling you? Everyone knows it. It's not a secret. If you read some of these Village Voice articles, they go into a dollar amount detail about how all of this was funded. And he never pays his bill anywhere he goes. All his campaign workers, no one got paid. No one ever gets paid. A dime never leaves this man's pocket. You got to wonder how he pulls these deals off, because everyone gets burned at the end. But everyone must know these stories because they're all out there. They're every freaking where. I don't know what to tell you, because it's all freaking here. Coretta Scott King, Al D'Amato. Like, this guy's so deep in the belly of the beast, man, doing their bidding for them. But yet we're hypnotized and we're tricked into thinking that he's the exact opposite of what he really is. And it's the irony is the people that hate him the most are these racist right-wing bigots, when meanwhile he's them. He's working for them. He's their guy. He's their creation. He's them. Oh boy. Anyway, that's my Al Sharpton report for you.